Welcome to Drinks and Discourse. It's been a while, but we're back. And today we have an awesome guest, Johnny Stevenson from Galena, Illinois. We worked together for a little bit. And today we're going to talk about a couple things that you're involved in. You are part co-owner of a media project company and content creation company. And then you also have an interesting, I don't even know how to describe it.
I guess I'll give you a brief. What we do is we watermark music files, track and report IP.
And at the end of the day, that's how I explain to someone. And she's like, why would you want to do that? I go, because then they know, I could be wrong, I'm guessing here, then that's how you know that song is being used and where it's being used every single time without worrying about AI trying to guess where it's at, copy strike law rules and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. And for an example is music gets sampled everywhere, from vocals to productions and loops and beats. But the biggest problem in music is collecting your data on where your music goes and the royalties that come in. So what we found is with AI technology coming out, there's ways to embed digital code into music files and track and report your work.
Cool. Awesome. So we're gonna get more into that here in a second because he can do a better job explaining what that was than I could ever. Yeah. So we're gonna drink some beers and then we're also drinking what is called a penicillin. This is a cocktail created by Sam Ross out of New York. And what is this? A blended scotch with lemon juice, honey, ginger syrup. And then we have, it's in my pocket. Then you usually float a single malt scotch on top, but I have an atomizer and we're just gonna spray some on top. So. All right. Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on.
Definitely. Ooh, that's good.
In case I got a little mouthwash too for later on.
A little scotch.
Yep. So tell us a little about yourself. Like I said, the first time I met you was when I worked for Blaum Brothers for like 3 months. The only reason I worked there for 3 months is because then COVID happened. Yeah, definitely. And that kind of changed a lot of things, but I know you had been there for a little bit. So give us a little history on.
Yes. Born in San Diego, California.
Hold on 1 second if you don't mind.
There we go. There we go. Born in San Diego, California.
Okay.
Raised off and on in Galena and San Diego. Been in the music industry probably most of my life as in making music got into PR and marketing. And then actually I met a DJ that went to UD named Floki. Shout out to Floki. And we hit it off. I managed him. He took off. We won #1 DJ in Brazil in 2021.
Damn.
It's cool being an alumni here from Dubuque. Really cool to see somebody come from Brazil to Dubuque and be a successful music career. And then since then, I think in 2016, I met Matt Blaum and he offered me a bartending job at his new distillery in Galena. And I've been in kind of food and beverage most of my life, but never did any bartending. So it was a good opportunity. Fast forward, I worked my way up to general manager, worked there for about 8 years. I think when I met you there, I actually moved to production with Mike and I was doing more of the distilling, helping with distilling. And during that time of me moving into the distilling aspect of Blum's, I was working on my media company the whole time, doing the music stuff on the side. But me and Zach met and started Invasive Media. And from there, we wanted to bring more of the visuals to our area.
When did you start Invasive, or when did you meet Zach and start Invasive then?
I met Zach in 2018. And we started Invasive in 2021 after COVID.
Right after COVID.
We were still doing stuff, but officially LLC in business, we started in 2021.
Right. What made you want to get into media creation and doing that side?
In music, I was always around it, like videography and photography, but it was hard to have someone with me to be able to catch the moments of what I was doing, part of my life. And I met Zach and he was taking photos at the time and it just synced out perfect. Actually, in 2021, we got an offer to film a writing camp that was working for Post Malone in Venice Beach, California. And we just picked up our bags. Actually, we were working with River Bluff at the time, doing some video content for them.
Yep.
And we picked up our bags and went out for a few months and worked there. And it was an amazing experience. But that was kind of just taking it on by storm.
So the first time I met Zach that I can remember was, my first time I was the marketing manager here at Seven Hills. COVID happened then. I got unemployed because of the fucking governor, whatever. And then I went a different route, but then I was like, I gotta go get some of my shit that I left at Seven Hills. And I went back to my old office and there's some fucker sitting there, full desk, editing. I'm like, hey. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I was just, I was not expecting it, but again, it's no big deal at all. And that's how I met Zach for the first time.
That's hilarious.
And I thought that was funny and stuff too. But then I remember you starting, and I'm like, why does that guy look familiar? Not you, but why does that other guy look familiar? And then Keith told me that's the guy that stole your office. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
I remember that. At the time, Keith, we were like trying to find office space just for a part-time.
Yeah.
And I ran into Keith at Blaum, and like, we might have some extra space. And we were like, cool.
Yeah.
Which lasted like a year. We weren't here too long. We were traveling. At that time, we actually were on the road. We got on tour with some DJs from Brazil. We were on tour for like a whole year in 2022. So
nice.
It was an interesting time, but
I bet going on tour is an interesting time. I wish everyone could experience it, but obviously that's not possible at all. So
definitely not for the weak-hearted and weak-minded, but it was fun.
Yeah. So hold on. Okay, so real quick too, if you don't know who Blaum is, the Blaum Brothers, they own a distillery, like you said, in Galena, Illinois. I would almost call micro, but they're bigger than micro because they're in 3 or 5 states now, I think.
5 now, I believe. Yeah. It started off micro, but now it's scaling a little
bit bigger. So if you're ever in Galena, definitely check them out. They have good bourbon, good whiskey, or good everything.
Yeah, they actually are opening up their public house here downtown Galena. So
yeah, I know that's just something they've been working on for a couple of years. Yeah. So how has been the journey through Invasive Media? Because I'll admit, my brother and I kind of started our own video production company. We probably didn't grind as hard as you guys did because then we switched to weddings because that just pays a lot more money and it just kind of rolling in. But I always knew small businesses needed some sort of vision that they can't do themselves. They don't want to buy a camera. They don't want to learn how to edit. They don't want to do all this stuff. So how has that been growing that business through? This is definitely a smaller market than Chicago or Minneapolis or something like this. So how's that been going for you guys?
Well, at first we were doing more music stuff, filming shows, concerts, and tours.
Absolutely.
But I had, being like growing up in Galena, I wanted to showcase Galena more because a lot of people know about Galena, but people don't really get to see it much. And there wasn't much videography opportunity around here besides Gigantic and some of the other companies. And we just felt like we were going to gear the content we make. We wanted to gear it towards social media only because we knew the future, nobody's going to be on their computer looking at social media pages and stuff besides your websites and stuff. So we dialed into that. That's our niche, solely focused on content creating for social media. And it started just working with a couple local businesses in Galena and even some stuff with Keith and some other people in Dubuque. But we just noticed that nobody was offering that service as curated content for social media, affordable. And that's what we dove into. And it worked really well in Galena. We joined the Chamber of Galena. We actually recently are joining the board of Dubuque, the Chamber, not the board, here in Dubuque. And just trying to get more involved locally and help these businesses because some of these businesses, they might not be able to afford the bigger companies that offer it, but we do offer a more affordable price.
Yeah, because I know there's Gigantic and then there's Dreamweaver, and I know those guys are Dreamweaver. They're awesome, but they're definitely
it's Tim, I think.
Yeah, and they're definitely on a higher end scale because I've seen their gear, and it gears not everything, but when you see a red or something like that, you know what that costs, and it's fine, but it's also like you said, there's a market on the smaller markets. Those are like, it's almost low hanging fruit, right? Because you can charge $1,000 instead of $10,000 for a spot.
And that's how we got it. And that eventually turned into, recently we shot some stuff for Glow. It's a hydration drink that promoted highly by Kylie Jenner.
Okay.
I'm starting to do a lot more of these corporate stuff, but of the local thing is our passion. That's awesome. Zach being from California as well and moving here and just ending up staying here, he's big passionate about the local community as well.
Absolutely. And it's there's enough room, I think, for everyone. It's just as long as there's different ways of going about it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I see. There's so much to do still. We're going to focus on a niche, and we see everybody has their own niche. So.
Right. It's just like with brew. People are like, there's 4 breweries in Dubuque, Iowa. I'm like, dude, trust me, there's enough fucking people drinking beer that will drink it all.
And that's how we viewed it. And our goal is to work with everybody eventually, not just smaller businesses. We eventually want to do bigger projects.
And I know there's one of my buddies, he does, I don't know if he still does that for a while, but he was doing some of the design work, or I'm sorry, not design work, but creating t-shirts, the screen printing for Back Pocket. But he only did 2 of the lines, and there's other companies that do other. Sometimes I know some companies, they do some content for some companies and some content for the others because they can't afford all of it together. So,
and we try to, like, for instance, Blaum Brothers wanted to do something different for content. We pitched a lot of ideas. We did your traditional stuff. Eventually, we landed on skits. Mac has been on a lot of low-budget films and bigger projects with Tim, actually. And we were like, let's produce something smaller skits. So we did Dawn of the Dead. We did Step Brothers.
The Step Brother one was fucking hilarious.
So that's like, and the next we're indirectly promoting their brand.
Yep, exactly. And that's what it is. We all know what the product is. It's just how can I know that person more on a personal level and let's see have some fun. And that's what I try to tell people. You want to put your faces on everything because it just makes people know, oh, I know who this human being is that I'm buying this product from.
And they do cool stuff. If you go read any of their bottles, they have funny quotes and sayings. That's what I like about even Keith here. People that take it more personal than corporate is how I think brands thrive.
Absolutely.
Just be more customer and friendly.
Yep, exactly. So let's get into, what's it called again?
SoundSafe.ai.
I was going to say music safe.
No, SoundSafe.ai.
Okay. SoundSafe. So, like you kind of explained earlier, it's a way to watermark songs for artists so they can keep track of where their songs are being used so they can get paid properly. Because ever since Napster, there was things before Napster, but that's the thing that pushed copyrighted music into oblivion. What made you even start? Like, where did this idea even come from? Was it from you, from someone else, or just a couple nights?
The idea came from Don. He's one of the co-founders, Don Dada. He's actually a music producer. The funny story with Don is 2022, after we got back from working on the road, I told Don to move to Galena here, and I moved him from Montreal, Canada. So it was big culture shift. But
man, you guys have two Californians and someone from Canada.
And actually he's born and raised in Lebanon. So then he moved to Canada.
Wow.
And now I moved him to Galena. So it's pretty funny. The whole project originated with Don. We met filming the writing camp for Post Malone in Venice Beach, and that was an interesting time. Me and Zach just packed up our bags and moved to Venice in a house of 10 people.
There you go.
And I've known Don for years before then. And then he kept tossing me around how new technology was going to help the security and tracking of music. And at first I wasn't too knowledge on it. I just knew from the headaches I've dealt with music and the contracts I've dealt with, even just tracking down lawyers and managers and musicians just to get signed contracts. It fit into what he was saying. And from there, it snowballed into effect into our first company. And then actually January of this year, we closed our old company and started SoundSafe. And again, it started from the headaches and problems I dealt with music as far as like payments and just contracts.
Sure.
And that's where it originated.
I get. So when you guys talk about this, like, how do you even start the ball rolling on something like this? Because this isn't just like, I'm going to start a clothing brand and do this. This is so many pieces. Because at least I understand how websites get built, how SaaS companies get built. I still don't fully understand crypto and NFTs and all that other shit. But whatever, it doesn't matter. But
an AI.
But like, you are combining so many new technologies into one and trying to get it out there. Like, how do you even start managing?
Start the process. So the first thing we could do that we knew is we already understood that there was an issue and there was a problem. One thing we noticed, I say this a lot, is in the last 100 years, innovation has touched music in every aspect we can think of.
Absolutely.
The biggest one it didn't is how we get paid and how we agree on ownership. And that seems to me is the thing you need to fix before you try to fix anything else.
Absolutely.
Because it's the core of the life of an artist or a creative. And from there, we did our research. We saw a lot of paperwork getting done through people at Harvard and Yale about audio watermark technology. And from there, we found out that there's just so many different ways, even speedlining it with AI. So we just basically sat for about a year or 2 years just researching and then constructing code. And basically how it works, similar to websites, all we are doing is you drag and drop your music file. In the back end, we watermark it, and on your dashboard on our profile, you basically track and report it. Kind of like any tracking of any items that you order from Amazon, just a lot more secure and a lot more, I would say, seamless.
So so let's say I'm an artist. I came out with a 9-song album or whatever. And before I put that on any outside platform, any digital social media platform, I give it to you.
Basically, you created your music. You just finished up in the studio. You have everybody you've worked with in the studio, the writers, the managers, the producers, the engineers. Everybody's involved in the creation of the song. As soon as you're done putting in the fields of who created what, you watermark your file. And what this does is basically tags your audio file with your IP rights of ownership, your intellectual property rights, I would say. And basically all it is a dashboard that monitors that and make sure you get proper. And we're not dealing with any payouts. We're dealing with just tracking and reporting to making sure that your payouts are happening when they happen.
All you're going to do is say, hey, your music's been not saying here, but played here and here.
And you got,
and here you go. And then you do with that whatever you need to.
And then also the metrics from like how much you got paid through this platform, how much you got paid through TikTok, from XYZ, because right now the technology that they have available is very simple and people are working on it. And that's kind of why we're actively working on it. But
because I know I pay whatever yearly to Epic Sound. Or Epidemic. And now if you don't know what that is, basically you pay this yearly fee and you're able to use songs with commercial rights used to it. So basically these artists probably get some sort of cut, which is probably not very much at all, but it's something, especially for newer artists, I think, to kind of get out there. So it's kind of the same thing like that, but just on a more secure scale.
Before they even would upload their music, basically what you want to do is you'd want to watermark these files before you take them anywhere, just so that you know the history of that song or even the sample. It's going to even go to the point where we noticed a lot of sayings are going viral. Even songs are going viral these days that are 80 to 100-year-old songs. The problem with that is these labels and people that own the estates of this music, they don't know that went viral and they can't track it unless they see the numbers go up on sales. So that's where we come in and we help B2B publishing companies, labels track and report that, and also eventually B2C and customers track and report.
That's awesome.
It's a security tool, I would like to say. It's just a kind of like, there's just ways that I would say, I'm trying to give an example of an easier way that people could understand.
I mean, basically it's a patent of some device that I created. It's guaranteeing that my work is not going to get copyright or used over again without me getting
without you getting notified. And again, it makes it easier even for creatives like us. When we are editing stuff, we do go to Epidemic Sounds, but they're so limited with stuff. With our platform, you could go and see anybody who makes music or sounds and go through something you like, and you can automatically reach out to them independently and major companies. So it'll be both. The problem with Epidemic Sounds is they're limited. They don't own the rights to everything. That's the problem, is they can't let everybody put their music on their site because not all that music's legally can be used, because there might be a famous person on it or might be somebody that didn't authorize that.
So let's talk about, do you have competition, or are there other people trying to do the same thing? Because it seems like it's a very unique thing, but it also seems like there's how many billions of people in this world?
There's definitely competition. Like as far as technology goes, more deeper in the back end side, the most comparable thing is something Google has called Track ID for YouTube. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I'm sure you might be familiar with that. That's a watermarking technology, but the way it does it is very simplified, and it has to hear the whole song. We've created a technology where it takes seconds for it to hear.
So if I use 5 seconds of Joe Schmo's song, you will know instantaneously that.
Even worse, something in music production we implement. How do you say it, Don? Interpolation, sorry. There's something in the music industry called interpolation. An example would be if I was a music producer, EDM producer, and I like the Michael Jackson Thriller song, and you know the hook to that Thriller song, we hear it everywhere, commercials everywhere. Michael Jackson's estate has no idea who uses that. Anyway, they know from what they see on the TV and stuff, or what they license through legally.
But Johnny that lives in Denver that's playing at some set,
or even could even if like somebody used it on a commercial or a podcast, and just a simple little cut of it, you could know. But the interpolation, I can't say that word. What did you say? Interpolation. Sorry. With interpolation, that is any cut of a song that could be distorted, reverbed, any manipulation at all.
So it's diving deeper than anything
it's making sure that if anybody takes any sort of audio, you can know where it goes.
That's interesting, because it's almost, at the end of the day, it almost seems like you're just injecting DNA into that song.
Literally.
And no matter how you're transforming that DNA or song, in theory, that DNA is going to be recognizable by your software that's looking for that DNA.
That's a perfect way to put it. Don describes it like that too. It's a digital DNA. We embed digital DNA of the ownership of that creation. And this is going to go obviously to any audio, vocals. We have a partner called Ink Games. Big shout out to Ink Games and Zach Below and all our people over there, Liam. These guys have a cool gaming platform that's play to earn, but they have sounds that they use themselves, native sounds. Problem with that is even owning those sounds in-house and creating them is we did a use case. And I had Don and I screen recorded me playing the game.
Yep.
And then the audios we took from that screen record, we made an EDM song of it. So in our meeting with them, we were like, hey guys, here's a good example of you're never going to know this. That's an example.
Yeah. With today's technology and just simple technology, you can easily take someone's recording, manipulate it a million times. That never know.
And then for instance, you said something about AI music. We just had a big thing in the world about Drake releasing an AI song. Somebody released a song about Drake and it was AI made, and you couldn't really tell. Our technology is one of the ones that could, if you watermarked your file, you could tell which was real, which is not. So that's another big thing and use case. A good example is everybody knows how music gets leaked. You know, famous artists' songs get leaked. Well, that won't happen anymore. And when it does happen, we know exactly how it happened.
And you can spot the source of who leaked it and whatnot.
So that's another use case.
That's awesome. I mean, this definitely sounds something amazing, but it also, again, I've coded websites before. I know a while ago you asked who knows a full stack developer. I'm like,
dive into the details.
Man. Like, I only know a smidge part, but like, what? We don't have to go specific coding or anything like that. But I'm saying, what is the timetable for something like this? Because it's not more than just creating some JavaScript and PHP.
But it's easy to understand now that you understand that. So I can explain it a little better. It is code. It is digital code. Basically, it's a website. The last few years, me and Don had to learn a lot about coding, using a lot of Python and JavaScript and just all the different kind of tools you would use to build websites and code websites.
Yep.
Blockchain technology released some cool stuff where you can ledger and store files a lot more efficiently, faster, and more secure. So that was, that's another thing that helps with technology.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it's a website that the functions are in the back end that watermark your files. And for you, it's just a drag and drop feature, and you just have a dashboard in your own kind of space.
And then is your platform then just basically scanning the internet all the time to see where that DNA is placed at and looked at?
Yeah, so there's issues with that, legally and non-legally.
Sure. I guess that's kind of what I'm asking, because it's like...
No, at the end of the day, if you're into coding, you would know we have to do handshakes with different companies' APIs.
Yep.
That's the legal way to go about it. And we have some that we're already working with and partnering with. But we did more research, and there's things called web scraping we could really do on some open source stuff. That's hairy, but we're focusing on just our goal right off the bat is focusing on the handshakes with the B2B. A lot of customers, as in the artists, will be like, oh no, because that gives them the power. Our technology gives the creative the power. The B2B connections are to make it easier on the top level down for them to work with them.
Sure.
And I guess that's how that works.
Yeah, there's just so many ways to pull someone's data off the internet legally and not legally and stuff like that. So what are you looking at now? Because like, where are you guys at now? And are you guys looking for help? Or like, where are you guys at in this process?
So right now it's been amazing. We rebranded with the new name SoundSafe.ai and a whole new technology. Where we're at as a company, this has actually been amazing. We built our board of advisors. Actually, Matt Blaum from Blaum Brothers is on our board. Shout out to Matt Blaum. But we've gotten some amazing connections. One of our board of advisors actually is Latabia Woodward, which some of you don't know her, but most of you guys know her son, Offset, who's married to Cardi B and a part of the Amigos.
Okay.
She's the head of our advisory board. Helps a lot with kind of our introduction into the mainstream music industry with her background. Secondly, we have Mary Beth Sales, thankfully. She's been in Time Magazine, Money Magazine, Forbes. She works in PR in New York. And lastly, we have Cole Ingram, which is our developer, or not developer, sorry. He's our advisor for development.
Sure.
Cole's background is actually pretty cool. He actually helped develop a lot of the watermarks and AI for Shutterstock.
Okay.
So his background's pretty developed. And what we did is build a board of advisors that really fit and will be useful in what we're doing. Since then, we've raised our valuation, and we've got our valuation this year at $5 million, which is amazing. This is pre-tech built. It's more of just our research and development and our comparing to our other people in our market. And we currently on a raise of $500,000 at a 10%, which this means for people that don't know is we're just fundraising right now to develop our product, to build an MVP, which is a valuable product, like an actual product we could showcase to the public.
I'm pretty sure everyone's watched Shark Tank. Basically, you're doing what they're doing. You're just not asking for sharks. You're just asking for people that are. And
in the past, we did go through the VC route. I actually pitched at Marquette Law, did a bunch of other pretty cool pitch competitions. Actually, for an example, is we actually have a pitch competition in Dubuque with the Innovation Lab and Dupaco pitch competition here on the 1st, actually, February 1st. Which
this video actually will probably be released that day before that happens.
That'd be awesome. So come out if you see this video. It'll be at the Innovation Lab. That's for $10,000. Again, it's going to help us just start our development. That's where we're at. We're at our development phase. And once we're finished with our development or raising money and our development MVP, we will go shake hands with our letters of intent that we have and some of the prestigious music connections we have. Yep. And then it's just educating people on what we're doing and showcasing them the technology.
In a year, you're going to have this down to a T. You're going to know every word and how to pronounce it down to a T in a year. Probably sooner than that, but no, that's awesome. This is like when you guys first started your first edition or re-edition of this business. Yeah, the first one. I was like, okay, this is cool. And I never mean or anything. I wish you guys the most success, but man, that sounds like fucking hard work. And it's always hard work, no matter what you're trying to do. But it's also like just the coding. So again, I don't know how to code all that shit, but it seems like a lot. But I hope you guys more success than anything.
Definitely.
And I think this innovation lab will be fun and cool. I wish I could make it, but unfortunately, I'm going to be doing Rockstar Bingo here that night here. So, but I think it'll be, I don't know, like it seems so out of, most people just have no understanding of why this needs to be. But for people like us who are in the creative world, understand your shit can be stolen from you and just used.
It hurts. An example again, going off topic, but we had a producer that was a pretty big guy, a YouTube producer, and released his music beats and instrumentals on YouTube. One day we were sitting there to give another use case to this was Shazam your beats on Spotify, and let's see if anybody ripped your YouTubes off your beats off YouTube and your productions. Sure enough, there was like 3 major songs, some of them in the 100 million streams, that were on that Shazam. And they manipulated the production so much that it would take this kid $10,000 to $20,000 from lawyers and fees to be able to go take this down or to make action, to even hire a lawyer. Our technology will speedline that up for him in a cheaper way, but even better for his lawyer because he'll have immutable proof that is his technology. That's his production. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what can people do to find out either more about this or maybe if they're interested in maybe investing or maybe know some people who might be interested in investing, where can they go?
Definitely. If you're interested in investing, feel free to reach out. I'm sure my contact information will be here. As far as being more informed, if you were really interested, eventually here soon, we're going to start holding discussion groups in Dubuque and Galena and surrounding areas. If you're a musician, just to educate them on what we're doing. Again, we're building something that's never been done, but also in a small town. And that's kind of like what we like about it is we're entering a $40 to $50 billion music market, and more than half that is unreported. A lot of that's unreported. So we hope to bring something to this area that can make an impact globally. John likes to say we want to bring notice or awareness from Dubuque to Dubai, globally in music at least.
Like that. No, from Dubuque to Dubai.
Yeah.
That pretty much fucking covers the entire world almost, you know?
Middle East all the way to the Midwest.
Right. Oh, one thing I was going to say too is with your board of directors, obviously, I think that shows how much networking and just talking to people and going out and doing shit helps you. Because then you can get having Matt is great, but also then having that, the person that was
Offset's mom or somebody like that.
Like, somebody you would have never been able to convince her to even listen to you if you didn't go out and do the stuff you
even the story with that is with Latabia and Offset's mom. She saw a tweet that I tweeted on Twitter. It saw like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're trying to bring back ownership in music and IP rights. And you guys, this is one of the biggest problems in music that I've seen yet to this day. And nobody's been able to fix this problem. And then she dissected what we're doing, learned. She's like, wow, you guys have you did it. And I was like, yes, but it's like you said, developing this is not cheap. Hiring developers and coders and even people. We need forensic scientists and data scientists to help finish our research and compile our code.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, and I definitely think if you can pull this off, it'll be one of the most major big changes the music industry could ever see, because artists don't get what they're paid, and that's why you get these artists after 25 years are going back and doing a reunion tour. It's not because they want to, it's because they fucking have to, they financially probably need to go do it. I mean, yes, do they want to go do it? Yes, but they need their money because they've been their songs or this and that, and not even just big artists, the artists that's just living in their van, their shit's getting
exactly. And that's what we want to do. If we want to do it for everybody, like the reason for this wasn't just obviously we were creatives and producers. thriving to be successful, but the millions of dollars that these major artists use, like Snoop Dogg the other day on an interview he had, said something about, I have all my ducks in a row as far as numbers and what I know for all my businesses, but I have no idea about what my music is generating. Right. And I'm like, that's because it's not there yet. The technology hasn't been released. So it's cool to see different people validating what we're doing. And I'm excited to be able to build something that fixes
awesome, man. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, if you have any questions, I will leave Johnny's contact information in the description of whatever platform you're listening or watching this on. And yeah, man, hey, I appreciate you coming out.
Definitely.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for coming out. All right, guys, till next time.
Cheers.